And Joe.
And Sappho. And today we are joined here with Kristen. Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
How do you pronounce your last name? I'm going to get it wrong.
Campobasso.
Campobasso.
Very
Okay.
phonetic.
Campobasso.
Yeah, so I knew I was going to get it wrong.
It's
I was like Campabasso.
I've gotten it all, but I married it, so like I got yelled about it for a long time. Like, it's Campobasso. It's phonetic. I'm like, okay. Okay, crazies.
Kristen is a yoga teacher. I've taken a bunch of her classes. She's the top yoga teacher, in my opinion, out of all the ones that I've had.
I don't even like people say that to me, and I just
It doesn't even faze you.
no,
Like, you can't.
I don't feel that way. Like,
That's what makes you so good. It's like that one country song, She Don't Know She's Beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, thank you.
So tell us about yourself, like getting into yoga, a little bit about you.
So when I was pregnant, I took yoga at CLC. Like, I didn't go to college. Like, before that, I was 22. And I was like, oh, God, I'm pregnant. Like, I should go back to school. So, like, I took an English class and a yoga class and kind of fell in love with it. And, like, the teacher let me audit the class the next semester and fell in love with it. But then being a mom kind of, except for breathing, like, kind of threw it in the garbage, like, when my kid was born and all of that. But then realized as he got older, I needed an outlet, like, that was just for me, and started going to classes. And yeah, and then I took a bad class, and I was like, oh, if this lady can teach yoga, then I can teach yoga. And then 9 years ago, I took teacher training.
So you've been doing it for
9 years.
9 years now?
Mm-hmm.
What, as a kid, did you ever think that you'd be doing that?
I wish I knew about yoga. Like, I was kicked out of gymnastics because I got too tall. So I love, like, inversions and back bends and all of that. Like, but I was told, like, I was too tall. So I kind of, like, was like, okay, I can't do this hobby anymore. Like, yoga wasn't a thing, like, really for kids or, like, people that didn't live in the city before recent. Like, in the last 10, 15 years, it didn't come into suburbs.
Yeah, especially for, like, little kids, too.
Yeah.
And I'm newer to it, too. I'm still learning about it through.
I made him go to a yoga class once.
He's been to mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, twice. Yeah, he did go to yours. The first one, though, we went to hot yoga.
Oh, no. Where'd you guys go?
To Trillium. Yeah.
Okay.
That was somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah, Bridget?
Bridget? Okay, yeah.
I think so. But you found home at Trillium, you
Yeah,
think?
totally.
Is that, you're just there now?
I'm just there now. Yeah, in privates.
It's a really nice studio.
Mm-hmm.
So out of everywhere that you've taught, have you taught at gyms before?
Mm-hmm. LA Fitness in Round Lake and Waukegan and Lake Zurich. And yeah, gyms are crazy because your classes fill up. You get like gyms only pay you like $25 for the hour. It sucks. But you get like 30 to 40 students in a class. So it's like an ego, like, even though yoga's not about ego at all, it's a total like, oh wow, like I have 40 people clapping for me after saying namaste. Like, it's just kind of crazy like feeling.
So you taught at studios, gyms, and you also teach privately, right?
Mm-hmm. I go to people's houses, and I have sliding scales. Like, I don't charge what normal yoga teachers charge. Like, it's like, whatever you want to pay me, like, I'll come over and teach. I don't care. I just want to teach.
So you have your 300 hour?
I have my 200 hour, and then I also have a 25 hour of aerial yoga, and then I keep doing CUs with my teacher. So I probably have like 300 hours over 300 hours in
Yeah,
education.
you're probably close to 5.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and then I get asked by my teacher to like teach her basics classes for her teacher training.
One of the questions I have is how would you describe the person you were before getting into yoga versus the person you are now? What are the big differences?
More like I would get more pissed off before yoga, and now I can breathe through things and really not like. Of course, I still get pissed off. Like that's the duality of life. Like being able to be chill and calm, and then like getting a little pissy with things. But yeah, I'd say like calmer, like being able to breathe through things and letting things go.
Yeah, that's an important thing.
But the person I was before, I played golf, so I would break golf clubs on the golf course and yell and swear and scream. And now on the golf course, I'm way more like, whatever.
I have a friend that's like that on the golf course. I've watched clubs get flung, and
Should take him to a yoga class.
he'll probably never hear this, but yeah. If he did, he knows who he is.
He might. You never know.
Him doing yoga I'd be amazed to see it.
So when you studied yoga, like when you went to school for it, you went into it specifically to be a teacher, right?
Well, yeah, like I was going to school to be early childhood. Like I wanted to do a preschool, kindergarten. Like I wanted to like be an awesome kindergarten teacher, but then I finished up my associate's degree and I went and aided at schools, and I realized like the public school system is not for me, and teaching now is so much different than it was when we were little. And like the only schools that I would want to teach at would be like a Waldorf school or a Montessori, and they're hard to get into. Mm-hmm. And then you don't, not that I make any sort of money teaching yoga, but like it's a lot with parents at those schools. It's more like, and I'm more about the kids than the parents. Not to like say parents like are hard to deal with, but they're a lot more than children.
Yeah. Going into a career like that, you have to have that balance. Of dealing with the littles and then their influences. Yeah. So you do get to teach kids.
Yes, I teach them aerial yoga, and that has been the best part of teaching yoga, and I love it. I love the tweens better than the kids. Like I love the kids. They're 5 to 10-year-olds, but the tweens are 10 through like 15-year-olds, and they don't have to come with their parent. And it's so cool to hear their opinions and like help them to love their bodies and be happy with where they are and know that they have to practice it in order to get better at it. You can't just come into aerial yoga and think you're going to be good at it. And yes, a lot of the kids that are gymnasts or cheerleaders or competitive dancers. They're way different. But then there are the kids that just saw it, like saw a picture of it and like, I want to do that. And you're like, okay, it takes a lot of work, like a lot of upper body, a lot of core. Mm-hmm. Kids don't even realize what their core is. And then it's a lot of opening your heart. And kids now with iPads and technology have this like tech neck. So it's really hard for them to open up. Like, and when they do, when they figure out like, this is more important than this, like, is like, oh, wow.
It seems like a lot of the discussions we've already had always relate back to the youth and, technology and the kind of the trends of what younger people engage in. So, yeah, I think yoga is maybe even more relevant to younger people than, I think it's universal, all age, but
definitely.
I think it could be a very helpful tool for like you said, the young kids that are buried in technology.
Everybody should be doing yoga, in my opinion.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Like everybody. Like it doesn't even matter. Like if you go to a class, like even the pranayama is so important. And there are so many breathing techniques that I think everyone should do. Like even like the ones that make you feel stupid. Like the bee breath, like, you know, where you close off everything, like you feel stupid doing it, but it's super beneficial.
One thing I was talking about to a lot of customers I had this past weekend at my escape room, because there was a lot of younger people, and I kind of pointed out that, you know, they're about a lot of instant gratification, like having things instantly and a problem being solved immediately. And if it's not done immediately, then it's just, they're checked out. So I think the more mental side of yoga too can be really helpful for that, where they have to, like you said, breathe through something and not just immediately get upset or lash out, and kind of process it in a little bit more calmer way. So,
and I'm not gonna say I don't have my kids that cry and freak out that they can't do something, and I have to be like, you're not. Have you ever done this before? And they're like, no, but I watch TikTok. And I'm like, watching the TikTok of a girl doing it and you doing it are two totally different things. Like, I watch the videos too, and I have to watch it and then practice it and then practice it and then practice it. And then sometimes you get it and you leave it, you don't practice it for 2 weeks, and you come back and are like, I'm going to do this again. And it takes a few tries again.
Yeah, get back to how you were.
Yeah.
My son he did a couple of the kids' yoga classes there. He wants to do aerial yoga.
He should.
I want to see him do aerial. I want to try it. I've never done it.
I think you should too. I think everybody should. I just don't teach adults the aerial. Like, I'll sub the grown-up aerial classes, but like the grown-ups in aerial annoy me. Well, because they'll be like, I didn't know I was going upside down. I didn't know the thing moved. Like, what? I'm like, they're like, I'm getting sick. I'm like, well, do you get seasick? And they're like, yeah, like, or motion sickness. Yeah. They'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, well, what were you thinking?
You're on a swing.
Yes.
You'll be moving the whole time.
You're in a hammock.
I deal with that too. People that come into the escape room and it's like, what did you expect this to be? Why did you? Yeah.
I don't have that problem. People know that they're going to get hurt when they come to me. It's going to hurt.
How is that for you, like, hurting people? Like, I'm best friends with a piercer, and she says, like, after the end of the day of hurting people, she's just, like, toasted.
It took me a long time to get over that, because I would always, like, rush through tattoos because I could see that they're in pain, and I'm like, oh, hurry up. Or, like, piercings, too. I became really, really quick. But then, you know, you just, like, breathe through it. And I had to, like, step back and just be like, okay, they're paying me to do this to them. They want it. They know it's going to hurt. And they're going to earn something through that pain, which is going to be this great tattoo. So it's a total mental thing.
It's like people that come to yoga and they're like, they'll come back, like, a week later, and they'll be like, the next morning, like, my whole core hurt, my legs hurt, everything hurts. And I'm like, getting in shape is painful. Yeah. Like, it's not, like, something that, like, is easy.
Yeah, you do it once and then, you have a perfect
body.
It's
a good pain. It's a good hurt,
it's a total good hurt. But some people don't stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been guilty of that. Like, I'll be really good with yoga for doing it every morning, and then certain times of the month, I just kind of go, not today. And then that lasts for, like, 3 or 4 days. I'm like, oh, get back to it. So the different paths of yoga, you know, the 5 different ones, what do you think you follow most, if any, or like a combo of them all? So there's, you know, the royal classical path, Raja Yoga, and, you know, Bhakti's all about devotion and love. And then there's karma, you know, service yoga, Gnana Yoga, the wisdom and knowledge, and then Tantra, everything is connected, non-dualism.
Bhakti, mostly.
Love and devotion.
Yes.
Yeah. I could see that for you.
Yeah. Like, karma a little bit, and then, Raja, like, in basics, I'm more that way, and proper, like, alignment and proper, like, foundations, like, but I understand, like, every body is different, and someone's knee might not go over their last 3 toes or different things. But for the most part, like, most people don't even know where they are in space. So it's like teaching them, like, come to the top of your mat, like, use the bricks, use all the props, like, really, even though props didn't come to town till the 80s, and yoga's, 5,000 years old, like, but hey, you never know. Rocks could have been props back in the day, you never know.
I guess whatever can get people in the door a little bit easier to show them, oh, here's some tools to make it easier for you.
Yeah, but really following your own heart when you come to practice with me. Like, you don't have to do anything I say if you don't want to. You could lay there the whole time. There's no judgment. Like, you could child's pose the entire class. I don't really care. Like, it's really about you. It's your practice. I'm just a guide. I'm just a conduit. I'm there to teach you. And if you don't like it, like, the door is there. And yeah, like, I'm not traditional with, like, my music or anything like that. Like,
Yeah, music is a big thing with you. We've talked before about that. How you structure your class.
Oh yeah, like, everything is pretty choreographed to, like, songs and the music and all of that. Like I'll hear a song in a grocery store and be like, oh, and, like, practice, and then I'll be a weirdo and, like, be like, ooh, that would be fun. Like, okay. Yeah.
And then you said before you have your son test it out for you.
Yeah, he tests out things like you're a normal, like, human being, plus you're, like, tall and don't do yoga and you're a dude, and so if you can do this, like, pretty much anybody can, like, in my opinion. But
Yeah, it's good to have a test subject, a little guinea pig.
yeah, like, try this. Like, is it hard? Like, I'm like, yeah, that's hard. Like, okay.
So the majority of your students, as far as age and gender, what do you think you attract most or get?
It's a, like, huge spectrum. I feel like I can get, like, teenagers in my classes, and I can get people in their, like, 70s and 80s in my classes, like, and I do have to say, like, I have more of a dude like, I have more dudes in my classes than a lot of teachers, and what I've heard over the years why is because I demo the whole class. Like, it's not that I'm doing the whole class, but I'm demoing it so that students can watch me rather than looking at other people in the room, because guys have said, because they can see me doing it, they won't make women feel uncomfortable in their yoga class, because yoga here is pretty female dominated, and guys, like, really do feel, like, scared to come to their first yoga class because it's intimidating.
I mean, yeah, I'd be lost if the instructor just said, do this, just verbally said, do this thing. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I need to see somebody do it. And then I'd be looking around like Mr. Bean or something.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's how guys feel. Like, they feel like Mr. Bean sometimes. Like,
Know where to put my hands.
yeah, where do I put my hands? Shake and bake.
Well, even the one time I went with Jeannie, that I was just trying to keep pace with other people. I was like, oh, wait, I didn't do it quick enough. Oh wait, they're on the next one.
But you don't have to.
Yeah.
But that takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
Like, your first class, you think you have to keep up.
Yeah, that was my mistake. Your hot yoga. We should have done your class first.
I held my own.
You did good.
Yeah.
I saw you. Saw you looking at me trying to figure out what we were doing. Which is good. You tried, and that's important.
But I like the aspect that it's like yoga's easy to get into and maybe challenging to master, but I always like things like that where, you know, it's something that anybody can approach. It's a very approachable, and you can do it in a very light format, or it's something you can really dive deep in. And
yeah, that's a good point, where you can make it as hard or as easy as you want.
Oh, for sure. Like, there's variations of everything that can be harder.
And I think it's more rewarding that way, where if it's something that you really take to and really enjoy, that, yeah, there's a whole there's a lot of depth to it.
Yeah, and not just asana, not just the poses, like the philosophy of yoga. I think that's what I'm most attracted to is just studying the philosophy behind everything and the history. And I love that yoga has never admitted to the existence of any god. It's just
your
is.
God.
Yeah, it's whatever.
What
it's like,
you
it just goes
believe in.
cool. Yeah, you like that god? Sure.
That's what I love about it. Like, because people will be like, oh, it's this or it's that. And I'm like, no. Like,
It's not religion at all.
No, it's just like kind of a way to live. Like,
Healthy lifestyle.
yeah. And you might fall off that path sometimes. Like, it's not an easy 8-limb path to be on. Like, you can think you're doing amazing, and then you're like, oh, fuck.
One thing I like to ask, especially for something like yoga, how would you respond or kind of converse with somebody who's maybe sort of an outsider, is not that familiar with yoga, and it just has one of those opinions of like they don't understand it, so they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of people stretching or something like that.
Oh, it's that Hindu thing.
Yeah, or how would you inform or educate a person that's not in the know, or maybe, I don't want to say a naysayer. I don't know how anybody could look at yoga and say, ugh.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure there's
Yeah,
people
how
like
would you
that are just
explain
kind
it
of
to
a little
somebody?
ignorant, that are like, they don't understand it, so then they just label it as whatever, something it's just a bunch of people stretching. I don't get it. I don't get what it is. How would you go about addressing somebody like that?
I usually am like, if that's your opinion, bro, like, like cool. Like, I feel like every exercise, every like thing stole from yoga. Like Pilates is stolen from yoga. Like dance has stolen from yoga a lot. Like everywhere like takes what they want from it, kind of, and yeah, like if they want to think it's just stretching, but it's more than that. It's like being able to get into your own body and realize like you're in control of it. You're in control of this body. You're in control of your pain. You're in control of like how it feels like.
Because I could see that as an opportunity if you see somebody that's like, oh, this person doesn't have any idea what they're missing out on, and maybe slip them a card or invite them to a class. Be like, listen, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, and
Come and do a class, and then we'll see what you think.
yeah, and that's pretty much like okay, there's so many different types of yoga. Like, what are you into? Like, and they'll be like, oh, I drink beer, and I'll be like, oh, this brewery does yoga at 10 o'clock in the morning. You pay for yoga, you get a couple pints. Like, you could do that. Like,
So you can like integrate yoga into
into
every
anything.
lifestyle.
Every lifestyle. I think, yeah, every lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's wine in yoga, there's weed in yoga, there's like
There's the goat
hip-hop.
yoga.
Yeah, the goat yoga. Like I'm not a fan of it. I've taught it once and it's not for me. Like I don't want an animal like pooping on my mat or peeing on me or like watching them do it to somebody. Like it's really cute. Like my best friend Rochelle loves it. Like she goes all the time and so do her girls, and I'm like, yeah, no, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
But that's and then the hay, I'm allergic to hay. Like it's just not a fun time for me.
It seems like some gimmicky stuff has popped up, but
Yeah.
it can't be a bad thing that it's getting maybe people who
Yeah, entryway.
It is an entryway.
Yeah, maybe they hadn't been interested, but then that got them in the door, and then maybe they explore further from there and
That's the
maybe
cool thing.
become a teacher themselves. I'm curious if you've had anybody that maybe was somebody who attended a class and then went on to become an instructor as well.
Quite a few students, and that is like the coolest thing to me. Like that is like Julie, for a sub of mine, Julie. She started coming to my classes, and she's an amazing yogi, like gorgeous practice. And she was like, "No, I don't." No, like yes, you do. And she asked me if she could be a yoga teacher. I'm like, I think anybody can teach yoga. Like honestly, like if you dive into it enough, and like you'll resonate with somebody. Like you've been, like she's been through so much. Like she was in a car. Like her body has been through so much and still goes through so much, and to be able to have a practice after like breaking your back, like, and then to become a teacher. And before that, like, I didn't see, like, when she was just a student, like, she had such a beautiful practice, and I would tell her that, and she didn't believe so. And I'm like, and now that she's a teacher, and I haven't taken her class yet, like, which is bad of me. But the other day, she's like, I'm a teacher because of you. And I'm like, no, it's not because of me. It's because of you. Like, that's like like what I love about it. Like, it's not me. Like, it's you. Like,
So that's obviously a really great thing to see a student go on to be a teacher, that you inspired them, or at least, lit the flame of some sorts. What
or
other?
like, yeah, like there was this dude, John, that came to my class a few times, and he was like, yeah, I practiced like on and off over the years. Like, my mat's been here, there, and everywhere. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm thinking about taking teacher training, not to become a teacher, but just to dive deeper into the practice. And I talked to him about it, and he's like, do you know Wendy? And I'm like, yeah, I know Wendy. She's like one of my best friends and my teacher, and she's amazing. And I think you should do it. And then he's like, after taking my class and talking to me about it, he decided just to bite the bullet, and he's doing her training right now. So
That's good.
yeah, he was in my class the other day. He's like, yeah, I'm still doing it. And I'm like, I'm proud of you. Like, it's not an easy thing, because you have to, yoga makes you like look at all your stuff, and it's scary, and it's a lot.
What other moments are inspiring to you about your students, or the way you teach? So not just people going on to being yoga teachers, but have you seen, like, maybe somebody curing an ailment of sorts or something like that through the practice?
Students dealing with like their diabetes, like getting off of medicines, or like controlling like fibromyalgia, like different autoimmune diseases. Like, one of my students has lupus, and she's like, if it wasn't for you, like, I don't think I would be able to deal with this disease as well. Like, and I'm like, it's not because of me, it's because of yoga. Like, and she's like, no, like, and to hear students say like, no, like, I've tried other teachers, Kristen, like, you have no idea, like, can't do it, like, can't do other teachers, like, you're it, like, and that's like, I don't know, like,
That's going to fill you up.
oh, so effing much, like, it's crazy, like, it is crazy. Like, I've realized in the last couple months that yoga is my calling. Like, I always thought that was stupid, like, so dumb, like, oh, it's my calling to do this. Like, when you hear like a pastor or somebody be like, I have to leave the church, I got called like to do this, and you're like, really did God really called you? But no, like, it's for real. It's like, yeah, this is my calling, this is what God wants me to do. Like,
Yeah, it's important to recognize that.
Yeah, I didn't know that until recent crazy events.
I mean, I think it's true that you say, no, it's not me, it's you. And I think that's true, but I do believe there's certain people that might have the right key to unlock that in somebody else. So I think it was probably in them the whole time, but maybe they didn't realize it was there. So they needed, somebody like you to just, pop that key in there really quick, and then
show them how to do it.
Yeah.
And be like, no, you got this. You had this the whole time.
That's the best teacher. That's the best type of teacher, is when they make you realize that you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what you do for people. Have you had a teacher like that in your life? It could be anything, not just yoga. What's your most memorable teacher?
I think a lot of my art teachers, because they would be like, I'm like, well, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. And they're like, it doesn't have to look like that. Like, but it's not, like, that art doesn't have to be perfect. That art is your expression, that you can, it's yours. It's not anybody else's. And if somebody doesn't like it, like, that's their opinion.
Art teachers are important.
Yeah.
Should not get rid of art in school.
Never, like, all facets of it. And it's so important.
I never had an art class.
What?
Never. I went to Catholic school. We didn't have
They
art.
didn't have art in your Catholic school? That sucks.
No, my
I'm
first art class
sorry.
was in high school, and it was awesome.
I'm so sorry you didn't have art. But look at you now.
I know. Do art every day.
You do.
Yeah, I like that there's not like a standard where, like you said, if somebody comes to your class and if they just, can't pull off a specific maneuver or pose, that's okay. Just do what you're comfortable doing. That's not like you've passed or failed.
No.
Like just showing up and being present, you've already,
Done it. Like my biggest philosophy is trying is doing. If you tried it, you did it. If you came to the class, you tried it. Like if you didn't do everything, you still did it. Like you thought about it.
Yeah.
So even if it was just in your head, there's studies proven that patients that don't have the mobility, if they do it in their head, they gain some benefits from yoga, even if it's just like seeing themselves do it in their mind.
Yeah, and it can't be considered a strictly physical thing. At least my perception of engaging in yoga is just it's completely mental and physical combined. It's not one or the other. Or it can merge into either one. Maybe you do the hot
Mind,
yoga and it's
body,
more
spirit
physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all about.
It's a trilogy for
Yeah.
sure.
Have you had any students like that where like the first day they showed up, they felt totally out of place or lost, or they couldn't do some of the things kind of how maybe you would be able to do them, but then now you've seen them progress and now they're just like, whoa, they're rocking it.
Yeah. I always talk about my student Rob. He is a 50. I don't know if he's 51 now, but he's a 51-year-old black man. He's been doing yoga with me for the past 7 or 8 years, and when he first came in, it was just like, what the f, dude? and like we got it, like, and he like came to hot yoga every Tuesdays and Thursdays with me, and like kept it going, and now like his practice is so beautiful. Like his warriors are gorgeous, and he's like 6'2", like tall, and like just like has such an amazing practice. And he's had knee injuries. He was in the military. Like he's a golfer. He swears by my yoga teaching for his golf practice. So yeah, and he's, I don't know, traveled to every studio with me. And during COVID, all my students hosted me in their backyards. Like I have like a really good yoga family. Like, and yeah, some of them, like when they first came in, I was like, oh God, like, but yeah, their practices are so gorgeous now. Like so many students' practices have just bloomed into wow.
And it is all because of you. They want to stick around because you do make people feel comfortable. Now I know, like going to your classes, I enjoy it, and you always say, trying is doing, all that, and as long as you showed up today, that's all you needed to do. And I think hearing that for people who've never done a yoga class, or if it's their first time going to see you, then like that would be enough for them. Like, oh, wait, I did what I did today, and I'll try it again, and you make them comfortable.
Well, for some people, that might be the hardest part, is just getting up and going. So to at least, kind of congratulate them on like, hey, you did it. You got up, you came here.
Yeah.
Because again, we've known people that's their hardest thing, is just to get off their butt and go do the thing.
It's hard. Like I tell students, like the other day, what day was it? I think it was Saturday. It was like raining. It was kind of gross. Like it was just like, they're like, thanks for being here. I'm like, no, thank you guys for being here. If I didn't have to be, I would be in bed right now. Like, thank you guys for showing up. And like people just kept on showing up. And it was it's 11:15 like basics class, and I wasn't expecting a lot of people because the weather was gross and all of that. But then like 13 people are in the room, like, and they're like, thank you so much. And I'm like, no, thank you. Like if I didn't have to be here, I'd be in bed.
Well, and then it's not just, you obviously have the personal benefits from engaging in yoga practice, your own personal health benefits, physical, but there's also, like you're mentioning, all these different people you've gotten to meet and stories and a little sense of community that comes up around it. You have all these, like you said, you don't just have students that are a revolving door. You have people that you've created a bond with over years at this point. And I mean, that's a really cool thing too, that yoga can represent a sort of a bit of a communion between people and meeting people you may have never met otherwise.
Oh, for sure. Like people that I'm like, I probably wouldn't have anything in common with you if it wasn't for yoga, you know, like, and then you find out you have like similarities and different things, like, or life experiences. Cause I share with my students a lot of my life, and it's pretty messy. Like I'm a pretty messy human. And, but I think that also, like me being completely honest with my students about my life, that today isn't a great day. Like,
I think that honesty is important.
Yeah.
And you do a good job of being honest, and I feel like that makes people relax more around you. Because there's some, yoga teachers, yoga classes that I've been to where it feels kind of like, oh, they're the master, they know what to do. We kind of have to like try to be perfect like them so they'll like us. And you're like, no. You're like, I messed up today. It's okay if you did too. Let's practice yoga.
Yeah, let's just practice. Like I even admit, like I'll plan a whole class, and it went so much better by myself. Like I say that to students all the time. I'm like, that went so much better by myself. Sorry guys. Like, because sometimes cueing, like you think like, oh, this is gonna work. Like, okay, yeah, I would. But everybody's brain's different. Like how people like receive information is different. And like sometimes my cueing, I'll be like, yeah, none of you did what I wanted to do. But this is okay. Like we're gonna be here.
It makes me think about some of the instructors and teachers that I've had that I think I enjoyed the most were the ones that were not. They were a little bit more informal and not so, just
like I'm the teacher, you're the student.
Yeah,
I know more, you know less.
Or so dry and by the book, or I think it always, because it establishes a connection with people. I think it's just makes people more comfortable and more willing to not only engage in it further, but open up to you and just, again, establish that connection where it doesn't. I could see a lot of students maybe not sticking with it because it's like, well, I don't really feel a connection there.
Yeah.
But to, find those little gaps to bridge with somebody and go like, hey, I'm just like you. Yeah, on the way here today, I cut somebody off, and I actually flipped them off, even though it was my fault. But here we are, and we're gonna.
It's happened.
So there you go. Like, and I think if you tell somebody a story like that, then there's a little bit of maybe they get a little giggle out of it, but I think it can ultimately make them feel comfortable. It's like, oh, she's just like me. I'm not. This isn't like some yoga person up on some big pedestal that I'm.
No, and I've never wanted to be that way. Like, I don't know. Like, for example, I've gone to like, oh my gosh, why can't I even think of? I hate it. Bikram, or however you want to say his effing name, but he's an asshole. Like he has students. He still is going, but He has his students like in 105 degrees with the humidity, and he's sitting on a throne with an air conditioner. Like, what? Yeah. No. And then yelling at students, and then having his teachers be mean, and then you're practicing in front of mirrors. So that's also an intimidation factor. And then he has his teachers be mean, and it's not okay. I hated it. And then it was the same. Yes, I got back because I went with a friend, and she loved it, and I was like, okay, like, I guess I can get better at these same 26 poses, like, and I can be okay with being yelled at by this lady, like, and seeing myself and being like, like, what? And I like to practice with my eyes closed. I don't want a teacher being like, look at yourself. What do you think? Like, I don't want to, like, not right now.
Not like this.
Yeah, I think that kind of totally
feel gross. And
I think that goes against everything you're saying. Like, do what's best for you, not what somebody's telling you to do.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do it with your eyes closed, do it with your eyes closed. If you, like you said, if you just want to sit in child's pose the whole time, go ahead.
Yeah.
you're getting something out of that, or if you're feeling like you're walking out of here today having, gone through something or developed through something or just feeling better by the end of it, then you did it.
Yeah, like I don't know, I've been in classes like as a student, like been in classes where, so I'm super flexible, I'm hypermobile, which can be a good and a bad thing. But teachers a lot of times will give me like hands-on adjustments and like put me into positions that like I can go into, but don't feel good. And they'll be like, "Can you stop?" Like they're like, "But this is better alignment, Kristen." I'm like, "Yeah, but it doesn't feel good. Like my rib is hitting something here. You just like, just totally like."
That
This
takes you out of it.
Triangle play sucks now. Like I hate it. Like I hate it. Like a teacher like has done that to me. Like where I'm like, if that's how it's supposed to be, like I don't want to do that pose anymore.
Yeah.
Like which sucks. Like I don't want to do that to a student. I don't want to like student be confident in a pose and me come over and be like, like no.
You've been doing this wrong your whole life.
Yeah. like, and that's how I was made to feel. Like. And the teacher didn't mean to, but that's how and I think me as a teacher, I don't want a student to think that ever that they're doing something because it's not wrong. If it feels okay.
Yeah, if it works for your body, then that's how it's supposed to look.
Yeah. Asman or Gabby. I don't know. But they're bigger yogis, like, sometimes they can do poses better than I can. And, there's no body type for it.
Yeah, and that's something I struggled with when I first got into it. I'm like, I'm not
I don't think
tall
it's
and
fair.
skinny, and I can't, bend all the way backward. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think you helped me a lot with that when I was taking your classes when I first started doing my yoga teacher training. And I was like, oh, this is different. Yeah, I don't have to look like, the granola girl, skinny yoga teacher lady.
You don't. I hate it that, my body is this way because, I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask to have a yoga body or, I've had, higher up yoga teachers be like, you have perfect yoga body. And I'm like, I don't think so. But, okay. But I don't think it's fair. Because my best yoga practice was when I was big, when I was pregnant with my son Orson. I got up to over 200 pounds. I was 230 after I delivered him, I think. And I think that was some of my best yoga when I was bigger. I know that sounds crazy, but the practice, but practicing it and then eating differently after having a child and being really healthy, more healthy with my lifestyle, and then just being just a mom, always wearing Orson, doing everything with him. And I dropped all that weight within the first year of having him, but it was just because I walked everywhere and did everything.
Yeah, simple little changes.
I didn't get a yoga body until after I was a mom. No. Before that, no. It was.
Yeah, and I feel like you see a lot of stories that are just huge transformations for people, or again, they tried everything and yoga was the thing that whatever either helped them recover from injury or lose weight, or my I just came to mind my other useless, I always try to come up with some useless bit of knowledge about something that I know, but the pro wrestler Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, I love his yoga.
Yeah, he created his own yoga program, or I don't know the specifics of it, but
he's wild. Yeah, it's fun.
But I know he got a couple other former pro wrestlers who were in really bad shape, on a sharp decline, and I think one of them had just recently passed away, unfortunately, from unrelated other things. But yeah, I remember he pulled a couple guys from the brink that were just in horrible shape and got them doing the yoga, and that completely transformed their life. So it's crazy little story. You wouldn't think former pro wrestlers doing a yoga program set up by a pro wrestler, but I remember it was it was a big thing. So it's cool to see that it's, again, there's no limit to who can or can't do it. I'm still thinking about how you mentioned people with disabilities, because I have a brother with cerebral palsy, and it has affected a little bit of his physicality and his legs and stuff, and makes me think, there could be some form or parts of yoga that could even help him, because he's been going through trying to get his kind of his gait and his walk back a little bit in line. So he's been my mom's been working with him, but
yeah, yoga would be amazing, like for him. Like, and there are yoga teachers that specialize in special needs yoga, teachers that specialize in cerebral palsy or scoliosis, like just different. Like, I have a friend who specializes in scoliosis, or like I have friends that actually have bachelors in yoga, like yoga for like cancer patients, and like getting into like it. I think it's like the most important thing we can implement. Like, and I'm not the yoga teacher for special needs, but there's one out there. Like there are yoga teachers for every skill set, every disability,
for everything,
everybody.
Yeah.
and I like how you have it tied to music so much too, because I think we were just the last guest we had was a music instructor, violin instructor, and we were talking about how like music is probably the universal language. You don't have to translate it. Everybody can listen to it, and it's just completely oral. And I think it's a good way to convey something like yoga, even if like somebody's coming into it being totally new and not understanding. But if you can have music that gets them into it or makes them relaxed, or maybe it's a song they know, then it could be just another another gateway into it.
I used to do. I want to do it again. Now we pay a company. But I used to do Pink Floyd's "Dark Side of the Moon." I used to do a blacklight practice to it, and I stopped it because we got in trouble for music licensing. But yada yada yada, business of yoga. But I would have people that have never done yoga come to that because it was Pink Floyd and blacklights. So like it was fun. Yeah. Like it was something like getting boyfriends to come to, and like having fun putting on like the glow paint and just practicing to Pink Floyd. And some of the dudes did just lay there and listen.
Just vibing out.
Yeah. Like, it was like, whatever, yeah, get high, come on in. Like, you're cool.
or more oldies type music, getting, elder people involved in it, because it could be very beneficial, like you said.
Yeah.
There's really no limit, but I feel like I've seen a lot of instances where, elderly people have a lot to benefit from it, especially to keep them moving. I think that's one of the worst things for old age, is to just become stagnant and sit. And I think that like makes people decline pretty quickly.
Oh, totally. Like so Tuesday mornings I do a gentle class in Grays Lake, and my students, usually there's no one in there under 50, like on Tuesday mornings, like, and all the music is like 50s, 60s, 70s, like pretty much. There's some of today because some of the students that are older like are like, I want to hear Post Malone, and I'm like, okay, Jane. And Jane is like almost 70, like, but her yoga practice like is she can mess with some 13, like she can rock it out like with teenagers, like sometimes her like you're like, Jane's 70, you're 16.
You got to get up on Jane's level.
Yeah, like Jane's awesome. Yeah, but like and like Thursday nights I teach a hip hop flow class. Well, not hip hop flow. It's called old school flow. Like sometimes there's some Nirvana in there, but like it's all music from the '90s and before 2002. So, but sometimes there can be some '70s in there. But yeah, it's so much fun, like, because I get a huge crowd of people just because, and it's like just a fun flow class and super old school, like take as many vinyasas as you want. Like I'm going to there's going to be a million, but you have to decide if you want to take them all or none. Like, there's students that like are like, yeah, everybody else can do it. I want a child's pose during this, or cat-cow, or do something completely different.
Whatever the music tells you.
Yeah, like, and that's a big part, like bhakti, like heart openers, and just like really free flowing, because I think that's important. People, yeah, if you don't like to dance, don't come to my classes. That's what I say to people. Like, if you don't like dancing, like, don't come. But if you do, and then you're gonna have fun, because I love dancing.
So I know we discussed a lot of reasons why you are so special and your classes are so special, but why do you think, if you had to boil it all down, why do you think yoga is so important to teach? And what makes your classroom special, like that one thing? Or a couple of things?
Because yoga can be done in a group setting or by yourself. And personal practice is so important, because sometimes, like, sometimes that's all you have is that practice. Like, and if you can give yourself that 30 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes at night, like, to actually practice, like, it can change your mental state, like, wholeheartedly. And that's why I teach it, because you could be going through divorce or depression, or a mom fail, or a work fail, or you could lose your best friend, or you could anything can happen. And it's the one thing you can have in practice that you don't need much space. You just need your own body. You don't need a mat. You don't need music, because sometimes music can be taken away from you too. And it can get you out of the darkest places you've ever been in your entire life. And so that's why I teach it. Oh. And my classroom, just no judgment. There's no judgment. No.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I can't judge anybody, because life affects me the same way it does you or somebody else, and it's not easy.
No.
But yoga can make it just a little bit easier.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
I appreciate that.
And the classroom is like you said, it's wherever you are. It doesn't have to be one physical place. It's more of a state of mind, more or less. It's more.
Take it with you.
You can take it with you anywhere. COVID taught me that from teaching outside. Like, thank you for showing up. Like, and like, they're like, I can't do it at home without you, or I can't do it on Zoom. Like, I'm listening to you, Kristen, but I'm not doing yoga. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know what you're doing, because you turned off your camera. Like,
I was going to say, you could, maybe, I was curious if you did try doing it remotely, but I feel like that kind of, you lose a bit of an aspect.
I tried really hard. It was not.
Didn't work.
No, it doesn't work for me. It's not my jam. And other yoga teachers are doing phenomenal with it, and they have their own YouTubes and all that stuff. I don't want it. No thanks. I don't want to teach the cameras. No. I need a whole class of people. Like, if you want to videotape it, cool, but no.
Yeah, it's like there's kind of an interruption there of the technology getting in the way. I feel like it kind of defeats some of the purpose of, again, it's all about being present, but if you're not
got a middleman
physically present,
Yeah.
So, what about, we didn't do our homework question?
Oh, yeah. So, do you have any homework for us, our listeners, something that we can apply to our lives or take with us from everything we talked about? Could be anything, like a mantra or a practice or
exercise,
something that we could do.
Something to do. Doesn't have to be an actual homework assignment.
I really I end my class this way, like every effing class, I never not do it. Like the metta meditation, is really important to me. And I didn't know what metta meant for a long time. Like it's loving kindness in Sanskrit, but I had no idea what it meant. My yoga teacher one day used to use that as her, what is that? Salutation, all the time. And I'm like, what does metta mean? And then I went to meditations and we did the loving kindness meditation. So that is how I will forever end my class. And I think everybody should look in the mirror every day. And I added on mine, but it's just general, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be loved. And then mine always is, may I be awesome. Because I think everybody is awesome in their own way. I've never not found something awesome about somebody, anyone.
You got to be able to look for the good in things.
You have to look for the good.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen.
No, thank you guys
for talking with us, and just always being you and just honest and open with everything.